Hello, and I hope you're doing well. If you haven't already, go check out my previous videos. I did one about a review of a Mjolnir meat tenderizer, and obviously meat tenderizer. And I did one about why we should uh, cut Marvel a bit of slack when it comes to the portrayal of Thor and the other gods and stuff like that. But anyway, so in today's video, we'll be paying a visit back to our friend, well, I say friend loosely, I mean, we haven't met the guy, whatever, you know, but one of our favourite channels, Slap Ham. Now, it's funny, a lot of debunking channels have slated Slap Ham and other top 5 channels, but to be fair, I take on board what these debunking channels have said, but if I was to look at all compilation channels, I'm pretty sure they're guilty of doing the same thing when it comes to editing or stories or whatever. But at the end of the day, if I looked at all compilation channels like that, I'd have nothing in the end to react to. So, and I like Callum. He's got good vibes. So I haven't seen 100% absolute proof that he's completely dishonest. You know what I mean? He might have taken some liberties or poetic license with some stories, but who doesn't? You know what I mean? It's like I've seen debunking channels where they go, "Oh, I do my own ghost investigations," and it's funny because debunking channels will go, "Oh, REM pods, ghost apps, anything like that are bullshit," and yet the the teams that they say who are legit, they go on these ghost hunts with these legit, I'm not saying they aren't, but these legit hunting teams. But these ghost hunting teams that are supposedly legit are using these bullshit devices. So it's like, why is that not? Why are you not going? Hang on, guys. Why are you using these? Right. So we're going to pay a visit to Callum and Slapped Ham, and this video is called 13 Scary Ghost Videos that made even skeptics go quiet. We'll be, as always, we'll be the judge of that. The other thing as well is, as you and I know, when we watch these videos, to be fair, you and I are smart enough to go, well, that's bullshit, or that's faked, or that's marked. You know what I mean? It's not like we sit here and go, whoa, man, this is evidence. You know what I mean? So, anyway, but before we start though, there's this little video, this little short coming up.
You need to hear this if you're a paranormal enthusiast. Ready to dive into the unknown? Join the Tristan channel as we journey through spine-tingling paranormal encounters, unexplained supernatural phenomena, and perhaps some eye-popping UFO sightings. Our world is full of mysteries, and together we'll explore the eerie, the bizarre, and the downright unexplainable. From haunted houses to cryptic creatures, we'll react to the most chilling and baffling compilations. So if you're ready to test your courage and expand your mind, hit that subscribe button and let's unravel the unknown together. Welcome to the adventure. Welcome to the Tristan channel.
Yes, so don't forget. Oh, excuse me. If that's, sorry, it's very hot in it. It takes energy out. If that sounds like your sort of thing, don't subscribe, hit the like, and share it around with your friends. Tell them about this channel, and because it'll be great to have you with us, which I'll probably say at the end as always. But anyway, let's do this. Slept down. Oh.
Do you believe in shadow people? This eerie footage uploaded to Reddit appears to show something quite creepy.
Oh.
That dark shape isn't a pet, and it isn't a person. It darts across the room with a speed that just doesn't look natural. Here's the same clip again, slowed right down so you can get a closer look.
Oh.
This scary video was posted to Reddit's Unexplained Phenomena forum by user historical_move_2873, where it racked up over 1,000 upvotes and nearly 300 comments in a matter of days. And the comment section quickly turned into something of a confessional. The top reply came from a user who claims they live with one of these things. They say it slowly peeks around the corners of their house and that they've seen it more than 100 times. Another commenter described the Hat Man, a shadow figure that stood in their doorway during sleep paralysis, then appeared instantly beside their bed the moment they tried to move. Whatever was zipping around that living room, plenty of people watching are certain they've seen it too.
So I'm just multitasking. What do you think? I mean, don't get me wrong, that could be all done on camera and all, no, not camera, that could be all done on the computer and all that stuff, you know what I mean? The other thing is, because I was going to say, a lot of the channels that debunkers say are that the ones they back, to be fair, as well, they've said about clickbait titles, but the ones that they suggested are ones that I do like myself, and it's like, but I've caught them there's one video I didn't bother uploading, and it was saying like, I won't say which channel it was, but it's like, oh, terrifying house, and in the end I didn't upload it because it was a waste of time, and I don't want to waste your time. I wanted to react to a good video, if that makes sense, a good investigation.
His family put up a home security camera and it took less than 24 hours to catch something they couldn't explain.
Luckily can't see below. Don't worry, I have got shorts on, but I haven't got a top on because we're in a heat wave and it's fucking hot, man.
But the activity started long before the camera went in. TikTok user Tranquilidea Botanicals says things kicked off almost the moment her family moved into the house. Small noises at first, then voices, and not just one. Both she and her husband have heard men, women, and children.
So at first it was just like hearing little noises here and there. That escalated to hearing voices. We both have heard like men and women and children voices.
During their first week in the house, a Bible they kept above their bed hit the floor with a bang. Both parents smell cigarette smoke in a home where nobody smokes. And the spare keys they keep above each door kept turning up on the floor, but only when the family had left the house and come back.
But we would leave for a while and then we'd come home and a bunch of the keys would be on the floor. So it wasn't like, oh, like the doors were being shut and so it fell off. No, it was only happening when we would leave and come back and then they'd be on the floor. And actually, it hasn't happened in a while, but it was happening like daily.
Then there's her 5-year-old who insists his closet stays shut, because if it isn't, he says something else will open it.
And then just last night, my 5-year-old was saying that he likes his closet to be shut because if it doesn't get shut, then it will get opened by something else.
Once the cameras went in, the footage started backing them up. In this hallway clip, listen for what sounds like a child's giggle and watch the dad because he hears it in real time. Moments later, a different camera inside one of the kids' bedrooms picks up something else. Banging, and what many listeners say sounds like whispering.
I don't know if he's discovered his ear and that's why he's playing with it, or is it hers?
But it's this next clip that sent the account viral, racking up over 1.5 million views.
So I'll turn a fan on again. Oh,
Nobody touches it, nothing's near it, and it rolls anyway. The mum wrote that whatever's in the house bothers them all the time, and that honestly, it's more annoying than anything. When Skeptics suggested a draft under the door might have nudged the ball, the couple filmed a follow-up on the same camera.
Hold on, I'm trying to prove something. I'm trying to prove something.
They opened doors and wafted them to push air through the room.
Oh, that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah. Observe.
Well, then here, and then.
They walked circles around the ball. The husband even sat on it. And with the heating running the whole time, nothing they did could make that ball move the way it did in the viral clip.
So you can see the ball moving because it's a ball of air?
As for why they're still living there, the answer's simple. They've got a lease. And according to the mum, the activities never felt threatening, just persistent. Scary videos usually do the heavy lifting on this channel, but every now and then a single photograph stops everyone in their tracks. This one was taken in Papua New Guinea about a week after a man buried his wife. He's kneeling at her graveside, his young daughter perched on his shoulder. At first glance, it's simply a portrait of grief, but look closely at the man's left shoulder, just beneath his beard. There's a hand resting there, and when the image is zoomed in, one detail becomes very hard to ignore. The fingernails are painted red, and the hand looks far too large to belong to a child. The photo was shared on Reddit's paranormal forum by user Sids45, who says the image had already gone viral in their country. On Reddit, it's pulled in over 1,600 upvotes and more than 200 comments. The obvious explanation is that it's the daughter's hand wrapped around her dad's neck from behind. The poster raised that possibility themselves. But the shape, the size, and the texture all resemble an adult woman's hand. And the lighting and shadows sit consistently with the rest of the photo, which makes a clumsy edit much harder to argue. The poster says they've reached out to the man in the picture, and they're still waiting to hear back. Until then, the photo simply shows a grieving husband at his wife's graveside and a woman's hand resting gently on his shoulder.
Era algo de susto.
Stuck in traffic late at night, this driver glanced up at the preview screen on his cabin camera. What he saw there made him grab his phone and start filming.
Pues no hay nadie. Y yo aquí en el carro cagado.
On that small screen, lit up in the camera's red night vision glow, there appears to be a figure in the back seat, a woman with a pale face sitting directly behind him.
Ooh. It's like,
But when he turns his phone around to film the actual back seat, it's empty. Narrating in Spanish, TikTok user Jorgenava13 sums it up plainly. One camera shows someone, the other doesn't, and there's nobody there. He admits he's sitting in the car, absolutely terrified. The clip exploded, pulling in over 200,000 likes and tens of thousands of shares. And with that attention came the skeptics. One commenter pointed out that the driver's hand never appeared on the camera's preview screen while he was filming, suggesting the whole thing didn't add up. So he posted a follow-up. Filmed in daylight with his mum in the passenger seat, he holds his hand directly in front of the camera and films the preview screen. His hand doesn't show up there either. The angle he films from sits in a blind spot on the small display.
Cámara y no se ve mi mano. Ah, bueno, ahí ya se ve el teléfono. Pero hasta ahí no se ve mi mano. Ajá. Entonces,
The driver, for his part, isn't interested in the debate. His response to the doubters was simple. Everyone believes what they want to believe. He posted what he saw, and that's it. Whoever the woman on that screen was, only one camera ever saw her, and she was sitting right behind him.
y pues no hay nadie.
freaky.
In this nursing home, there's one room the staff won't put anyone in anymore. According to TikTok user Camila Torres, nurses used to joke about switching shifts just to avoid it. She says residents placed in the room suffered sudden episodes and some passed away. Even walking past the doorway was enough to give staff chills. Eventually, they stopped placing anyone in it at all, and the room earned itself a grim nickname, the Death Room. One day, a resident asked for something unusual. She wanted the room cleansed, and she wanted it recorded.
Heavenly Father, I ask for your divine presence to fill this space. May your light shine brightly through everywhere, cleansing this home of any negativity, fear, or unrest. Let peace dwell.
But it's what happens during that prayer that sent this scary video to over 12 million views.
Surrounding it with your angels and shielding it from harm and evil. May every door be a passage to your grace and every window open to your blessings. In Jesus' name.
Did you catch it? Watch the rosary in her hand.
And every window open to your blessings.
About 40 seconds in, the beads suddenly lift into the air, arcing toward the darkness of the open doorway.
It's very hard because it's a fucking wobbly camera. It's like, ooh.
As if something inside the room reached out and pulled at them.
Evil. May every door be a passage to your grace and every window open to your blessings. In Jesus' name.
Skeptics would say a hanging strand of beads swings with every movement of the hand that holds it. But watch the direction. The rosary doesn't swing with her body. It lifts away from her, towards the room. The prayer was finished. The door was closed. To this day, that room remains empty.
May every door be a passage to your grace and every window open to your blessings. In Jesus' name.
The creepiest part of this photo is that the woman who took it had no idea what she'd captured until the next day. She'd been walking through a cemetery in New Orleans, a city famous for its above-ground tombs and its reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. She took a photo of one of the old crypts and thought nothing more of it. It was only the following day, flicking back through the pictures with her husband, that she saw it. And once the image is lightened, it's impossible to miss. A figure in dark clothing, with a pale face, standing at the edge of the frame, not off in the distance, right beside her shoulder, close enough to touch. The photo was shared on Reddit's Ghosts forum by user outside_jacket_8661, and she was adamant about one thing. She'd deliberately only taken photos when there wasn't a single person nearby. In her words, there is no way someone just happened to step into frame. The comments section split right down the middle. The top reply, with over 800 upvotes, put it bluntly, someone was standing there. Another commenter fired back that someone could post the realest ghost picture ever taken, and Reddit would still find a way to discredit it. But here's the thing, both explanations are unsettling. Because if the skeptics are right, then a complete stranger stood silently in the dark, inches behind this woman, in an empty cemetery, and she never knew they were there.
Well, one could say, we only have their word for it. It could be a friend of theirs. We'll never know. What do you think?
For years, this family says something has been active inside their Southern California home. But lately, according to the mum, it's changed its behaviour. It started targeting her daughter. She says it began with toys moving on their own. Then one day, her daughter came running to her, saying something had touched her head. Then the cameras caught this.
I hate it when ghosts go after them.
And it's the next clip filmed on the bedroom's night vision camera that viewers have found the most disturbing. Her arm appears to be pulled, tugged by something that simply isn't there. Here's the thing, this isn't a new account posting one lucky clip. The family's TikTok account, Always4Family, has scary videos stretching back years. All the way back in 2021, a Ring camera in their daughter Mackenzie's bedroom.
See, the thing to take into consideration is that if the kids, either the kids in on it, or they're staging it without the kids' knowledge. Sorry, I'm just calming myself down. Without the kids' knowledge, and if that's the case, then that's quite a sick joke to do on your kids, just to get content. You know what I mean?
Captured a set of toy golf clubs toppling over all by themselves in a completely empty room.
What was
In that
that?
clip, you can hear the mum call out from another room, asking what the noise was. Nobody had been in there at all. "5 years of activity, and the pattern seems to be narrowing. First it was objects in an empty room, then toys moving right beside her. Now, if the mum's right, it's moved on to her daughter. Whatever's inside that house, it doesn't appear to be leaving. It seems to have made its choice."
Ooh, leave the kids alone, you bastard. Two seconds. Yeah, just a quick reference, look. Sort of the same size as that, but that's got a large head. Ooh, misses, that's what she said. But yeah. That one's metal. You've seen that on my other videos before. It's like a... Is it 1/1 scale? I can't remember what you call it now. It's a slightly smaller Mjolnir. Yeah, that's basically the same size as meat tenderizer, but it's a full shape. Just for a random thought, oh, better show you just in case. But yeah, I did a review on that, so there's not much you can go over it, but yeah, go check it out. Leave the kids alone.
In January 2021, a mum took her daughter to the Capitol Theatre to see Frozen, snapping photos all day to capture the memories. Those photos then sat on her phone untouched for 4 years. It wasn't until last year, scrolling back through her camera roll, that she spotted something she'd never noticed before. This photo was sent in to us directly by a viewer named Kara, and in amongst the packed theatre crowd, one figure stands out. A woman who appears semi-transparent, as though the crowd is showing through her. And to Kara's eye, she's dressed in attire from a different time entirely.
I thought it was her daughter or whatever it was a minute ago, and I thought I was too busy concentrating on the guy in the uniform. I thought there's a big shadow bastard stood next to her.
Skeptics would point to motion blur. In a dim theatre, a phone's shutter slows down, and anyone moving through the shot can smear into a ghost.
I don't know, Mummy. When I came here, I just came by myself. Then who's your friend?
Mostly see-through streak, but that doesn't explain the outfit. Kara's photo sat unnoticed in her camera roll for 4 years, which does make you wonder what might be sitting unnoticed in yours. Sometimes the internet's strangest mysteries don't come from haunted houses or dark forests. Sometimes they come from a $5 tub of Greek yogurt. A Reddit user going by the username Lexi
Yogurt.
opened a fresh tub of yogurt.
Americans do this, well, they pronounce it yogurt. It's yogurt. Yog-urt, as in hurt. Yog as in like yog soft off. Yog. Yeah. Whilst I can see why they say yogurt, because it's got Y-O-gurt, but it's, no, it's yogurt. Yog.
The lid over and found a question waiting for them on the underside. Written by hand in white letters on a strip of blue tape, it reads, "Why are you breastfeeding?" Nobody knows who wrote it. Nobody knows how it got inside, and nobody has the faintest idea what it's supposed to mean. Whoever stuck that note under the lid had no way of knowing who'd buy the tub, which somehow makes the question even stranger. It wasn't written for anyone. It was written for whoever opened it. The post shot to over 3,000 upvotes on Reddit's Strange forum, and the top comments spoke for most of us. They said they'd toss that yogurt immediately because a mystery sticky note and a white blob is a hard no.
I'd leave a little note underneath and be like, who the fuck are you?
The uploader agreed on one point. They definitely weren't eating it, but they were absolutely taking it back to the store because it cost $5.
Fucking hell.
Not long after it went viral, the post was quietly removed by the forum's moderators. The photos are gone. The question is not. Somewhere out there, someone is writing messages inside yogurt lids.
What weirdos. That sounds sort of, I don't know, that sounds like saying a vegan would write, I don't know, could be wrong.
It's time for the Weird News Roundup, where we run through the strangest stories making headlines around the world this week. First up, police in Moses Lake, Washington, have cracked a case with help from a very unlikely source, a Ouija board. On Friday the 3rd of July, someone broke into a car on East Nelson Road, ripping the stereo out of the dashboard and making off with house keys, prescription medication, and a Ouija board. As luck would have it, an officer had chatted with a woman earlier that same day and noticed she was carrying a Ouija board in her bag. He thought nothing of it at the time, but when the theft report came in, he remembered the board, tracked the woman down, and found her still carrying it along with the rest of the stolen items. The 36-year-old tried to run, but was arrested and booked into Grant County Jail on 5 charges. Apparently, the spirit world never warned her the police were coming. Speaking of things lurking in the night, residents of Zexeu, a small town in Pernambuco, Brazil...
It's Van Helsing or Solomon Kane. Or can I just say, because I've brought it up, Solomon Kane is in many ways an underrated film. You know what I mean? It's quite a good film, and I mean James Purfoy. Is it James Purfoy? Yeah, James Purfoy. He's a fucking brilliant actor. Oh boy. As you know, I like wearing Norse pants. Grim Frost, go check him out. Grim Frost. Animal Bone. I can't remember what the environmental friendly name of. Is it Repossessed or? You know when like you get, was it nature friendly, whatever? You know the term I'm on about. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is called. But where you can buy horns at festivals. It's like they're not hunting down the animals and killing them full of horns to make the cups, if that makes sense. It's been repurposed sort of thing. But yeah, it's a bit of animal bone with a rune's blessing or protection for. Comes from an actual genuine stone inscription.
All spent weeks convinced a werewolf was stalking their streets. A figure in a snarling mask, wide-brimmed black hat, gloves and a long black cape kept appearing in the early hours, and the videos spread like wildfire online. Police finally tracked down the culprit on the very same Friday. A 42-year-old local man named Elivaldo, whose costume was actually modelled on the Creeper from the Jeepers Creepers films. His explanation? Workmates had always joked that his usual hat and coat made him look like the movie monster, and someone suggested he lean into it. So he did, at 2 a.m, all over town. He was let off with a minor citation for disturbing public order. The werewolf of Zexeu, it turns out, just really loved his own bit.
Someone keeps on saying I should get dressed up in a plague doctor outfit, but the last guy who did that got arrested. And yeah, the funniest one I've seen that the person got away with once is, you know, the entrance of the hospital. You got that bit that goes over the top. A guy was stood on there dressed as a Grim Reaper. It's fucking bad taste now, but in a dark, humorous way. It was quite funny.
Next, one of America's strangest modern treasure mysteries has reached an ending. Sort of. For 8 years, father and son treasure hunters Dennis and Ken Parada have been locked in a legal battle with the FBI over Dents Run, Pennsylvania, where legend says a shipment of Union gold vanished in 1863 on its way to the Philadelphia Mint. The pair led the FBI to the site in 2018 after instruments detected a 7 to 9 ton metallic mass. The Bureau dug, then declared it found nothing, but locals reported hearing machinery running overnight when the dig was supposed to be paused and watching armoured trucks roll out in the early morning. This week, the Justice Department settled the Parada's records lawsuit, paying out $26,000 in legal costs. Dennis Parada says the released files only deepened his suspicion of a cover-up, and his next stop is the US Mint itself to find out whether anything arrived there after the dig. And finally, from one buried mystery to another. A research team has secured Turkish government permits for the most comprehensive scientific investigation ever conducted at the Durupinar Formation, a boat-shaped mound just 18 miles from Mount Ararat that some believe is the fossilised remains of Noah's Ark. The site measures 515 feet long, matching the ark's dimensions given in the Book of Genesis. The team's radar scans claim to show right-angled voids beneath the surface resembling corridors and chambers, and soil tests found the earth inside the formation holds nearly 3 times more carbon than the ground around it, which they argue is exactly what a giant wooden ship rotting underground would leave behind. Geologists maintain the whole thing is a natural rock formation. The expedition, announced in June and featuring core drilling and an underground drone nicknamed Gopher, is set to begin later this year. One way or another, we should finally get an answer. That's...
Or, two things, right? The Great Flood, whether it existed or not, they reckon there was a flood, but it was because they found this I can't remember if it was in a temple or if it was in a cave. But there's this old story of the civilization. I can't remember if it was the Dead Sea or the Black Sea. And basically, if you like you got a waterfall, there's a wall that comes down. There's like if you think of it like a natural dam, I can't remember if it led to the ocean or it was a massive river. But it collapsed, and all these villagers went out in rowing boats. And that story, and obviously because that was their little world, to them that was a great flood. So they chronicalized the story, made records of it, and that's what led or inspired the Great Flood story for Noah and all that stuff. But here's another thing that they never considered, because of the shape. It could be a hillside fort or structure, because and that square, that circular shape could be the wall. That's probably the most likeliest explanation.
Your rapid fire round. Now back to the countdown.
I'm just in the pool.
Back to the countdown with a quick one and a challenge. See if you can spot what made this swimmer freeze.
Right there.
TikTok user Just Some Dude 154 was having a swim when he glanced over at the bushes beside the pool and noticed something in the greenery.
Right there.
There, in amongst the leaves, is what looks like a dark face. 2 hollow eyes and an open
God, fuck me, you got eyes of a hawk.
mouth sitting perfectly still, seemingly watching him swim.
Right there.
The clip has racked up over 1 million likes,
Could be
and the comments
pareidolia.
are split between people who can't unsee the face and people who can't find it at all.
I
Which
know.
points to the most likely explanation: pareidolia. Our brains are hardwired to find faces in random patterns and a shadowy tangle of leaves
The thing is, I can see it now because we know where to look, but at first I was like, what the fuck are you looking at?
is exactly the kind of place they love to invent one. Almost certainly just light, shadow and foliage, but good luck convincing the bloke in the pool.
Please tell me I'm not just seeing things. You see that too? Right there.
See, that's quite far away. It's like, how the fuck would I see that? Or anyone would see that?
When one of our viewers was a boy, his grandfather used to show him an old photograph from his school days, and every time he'd tell him the same strange thing. The boy in the background was a friend of his, and that friend had died a year before the photo was taken. This photo was submitted to us directly by a viewer named Thorsten, and it was taken in Germany all the way back around 1924. At first glance, it's exactly what it should be, a group of schoolboys posing together by an embankment more than a century ago. But look towards the back of the group, up against the tree line. There's a boy standing apart.
Also, go that way a bit. I mean, it's It's actually pareidolia, but that light bit where the light comes in the bush there, it looks like there's a little ghost child there, but it's pareidolia.
From the others, slightly above them. And when Thorsten examined the picture closely, he noticed something his grandfather never pointed out. The boy's legs appear transparent. The ground behind him shows through where his body should be. He doesn't look like he's standing at all. He looks like he's floating. Now, Thorsten raised the skeptical case himself. Maybe the boy simply jumped as the shutter clicked. Cameras of that era were slow, and anyone who moved during a long exposure could smear into something ghostly and see-through. But
Or where his legs are, there's a bush. He could be behind a bush doing that. You know, like, hello.
As Thorsten points out, who jumps in a school photo in 1920s Germany? Schools back then were famously strict. Nobody would have dared. And there's one more thing that's hard to get past. The grandfather was there that day. He knew every face in that photograph. He could account for all of them. And according to him, one of those boys had already been in the ground for a year.
Ooh.
At the bottom of a frozen pool of water, something red appears to be breathing. This scary video has been circulating online for years now, and it's never been explained. It was uploaded by a YouTuber called Bruco Syndicate, who documents unusual happenings in his area. He says he was out walking his dog one winter's day, somewhere rural and blanketed in snow, when he came across a dark pool of open water sitting in the ice. And when he leaned over and looked inside, he started filming.
Could it be an iron deposit? Because iron can make water red.
Down at the bottom of the pool, in amongst the mud and sunken branches, there's a patch of deep red, and it's moving.
Could be an iron
Some
deposit.
viewers have suggested a thermal vent pushing warm water up through the lake bed in pulses. Others point to iron-rich groundwater springs, which can stain sediment a rusty red and stir it in slow surges. Both are real phenomena. Neither quite captures how organic this thing looks, the way the rhythm holds steady in and out like lungs. The uploader never identified what it was, and in all the years since, nobody else has either. Whatever was pulsing at the bottom of that frozen pit, it was alive down there in the cold and the dark. Or it was doing a very good impression of it.
Yeah, and I reckon it could be just, like I say, if it was going bloop, 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 you know what I mean?
If you want to see more scary videos like these, then hit that subscribe button and turn on all channel notifications. That way you'll always know when we drop our creepy video compilations. On the evening of July 8th, 1913, two housewives sat at a Ouija board in the back parlour of a middle-class home in St. Louis, Missouri. They'd been at this for the better part of a year, twice a week, while their husbands played cards in the front room. In all that time, the board had produced almost nothing, meaningless strings of letters, the occasional scrap of a word. Pearl Curran, whose house it was, thought the whole thing was silly. She only kept sitting at the board because her friend Emily, who had recently lost her mother, kept asking. Then, that July evening, the planchette took off under their fingers. Pearl's mother scrambled to write the letters down as they came. Many moons ago I lived, again I come, patience worth my name. The spirit claimed she'd been born in Dorsetshire, England in the 1600s. She said she'd crossed the ocean to America and that she'd been killed there by Native Americans. Beyond that, she gave almost nothing away. When Emily pressed for details, the board spelled out a rebuke. Yesterday is dead. Let thy mind rest as to the past. Within weeks, it became clear the spirit had no interest in Emily at all. Patience Worth spoke through Pearl. And what she had come to do, apparently, was right. What followed is one of the strangest literary careers in American history. Over the next 24 years, Patience Worth dictated roughly 4 million words through Pearl Curran. Thousands of poems, plays, short stories, full-length novels. Before long, Pearl didn't even need the board. She said the words simply arrived in her head, accompanied by visions like watching scenes from a film, and she would speak them aloud while her husband John wrote them down. She could dictate while smoking a cigarette or answering the telephone, then pick up mid-sentence exactly where she'd left off. On some evenings, she worked on a novel, a poem, and a play at the same time, switching between them without missing a beat. Parts of one novel were dictated on a publicity tour across New York, Boston, and Washington, with 260 different people taking turns at the board. Every session resumed precisely where the last one ended. Here's what makes that genuinely hard to explain. Pearl Curran was, by every account including her own, an unremarkable student who dropped out in her first year of high school after a nervous breakdown. She barely read. She owned few books, had never travelled overseas, and had no contact with literary circles of any kind. And yet the work was good. Not good for a parlour trick. Genuinely good. The New York Times called Patience Worth's first novel a feat of literary composition. In 1917, a prestigious national anthology listed 5 of her poems among the best published in America that year. The Sorry Tale, a 350,000-word novel set in the time of Christ, was praised by a Washington University history professor as the greatest story of that era, penned since the Gospels. Stranger still was the language itself. Patience wrote in an archaic English thick with thee and thou, and when researchers analysed it, they found her vocabulary drew overwhelmingly on Old Anglo-Saxon root words, as though the writer had somehow never absorbed the centuries of English that came after her claimed lifetime. Pearl, when asked, couldn't define many of the outdated words she'd just dictated. The spirit ran the household too. In 1916, Patience instructed the childless Currans to adopt a baby girl and told them what to look for. Red hair, blue eyes, English and Scottish blood. Born into poverty, they found her and they named her Patience Worth Curran. The case attracted serious investigators almost immediately. Pearl travelled to Boston in 1914 to be examined by the psychologist Morton Prince, though she refused to be hypnotised, fearing it would sever her connection to Patience. Then came the researcher Walter Franklin Prince, who spent years on the case and in 1927 published a 500-page investigation. His conclusion has been quoted ever since. Either our concept of the subconscious must be radically altered, he wrote, or else some cause operating through, but not originating in, Pearl Curran's mind would have to be acknowledged. Skeptics, then and now, land on the first option. No record of a Patience Worth from 17th century Dorsetshire has ever been found, despite extensive searching. Psychologists point out that Pearl admitted she began anticipating the words before the board spelled them, which is precisely what you'd expect if they were coming from her own mind. The modern consensus is that Patience Worth was a dissociated creation of Pearl's own subconscious. One researcher argued Pearl was a gifted child whose creativity was smothered by a domineering mother, and that Patience was the disguise her buried talent wore to
because a lot of it you could put down to like personal inspiration and stuff.
Finally escape. But calling it subconscious doesn't so much solve the mystery as rename it, because it still leaves a high school dropout improvising acclaimed novels in dead dialects live in front of audiences on demand for 24 years without a single recorded lapse. The family never charged a cent of admission, and Pearl never once claimed the genius as her own, even when doing so would have made her famous in her own right. In November 1937, Patience Worth delivered one final prediction. She told Pearl the end was coming soon. Pearl Curran died of pneumonia in Los Angeles a few weeks later on December the 3rd. The 4 million words they left behind now filled 29 bound volumes in the Missouri Historical Society. Either they're the work of the most disciplined literary hoaxer who ever lived, or the subconscious mind is capable of far more than we understand, or a woman from the 1600s really did find her way back, through a toy, to finish what her short life never let her start. More than a century on, nobody has been able to say which. Now, if you want to see some more scary videos, then check out those links on screen right now, and I'll see you in the next one.
He didn't do boo. He stopped doing that for some reason. Well, there you have it, Snapped Ham. They were good, weren't they? Some of them were fake, some of them were pareidolia. And that one, the bushes, I was like, how the fuck could you see that? It's like, you know what I mean? But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, then please do subscribe, because it'd be great to have you with us. And it doesn't cost you a thing. also, if you're watching this via Bluesky, because it opens automatically, just like X does, do me a favour. Just if you do like, because I see a lot of people like my videos that I share via Bluesky, but they like the post, e.g., therefore like the video. But if you are watching this via Bluesky, please actually click on the thing just to open up quickly and click the like, if you like the video, okay? It will actually help my YouTube channel more than it would on Bluesky, if that makes sense. But anyway, again, thanks for watching and take care of yourselves. Be well. See you soon.